Welcome to That Dori Show, and I am her special guest, Paulo, and I'll hand over to the main host of this show.
The big cheese.
The big cheese, Dori. Dori, how are you on That Dori Show?
That Dori Show, yes. You are just Eddie.
I am just Eddie, Dori and Eddie. A little bit of an in-joke. Dori and I have fans. Dori has fans. And she has a very good guest on the show, so that's great.
Yes. Welcome to the show, Paulo.
Listen, it's fantastic to be here once again.
You know, I've wanted to get you on for so long.
Oh, no, it's been so great. And, I really bow to your superiority, Dori. But that's what this is about. We're kind of like Starsky and Hutch isn't 80s. Why have I just blanked on 80s TV show power couples? With Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis.
Angela and Tony.
Oh, that's a good one. We're Balky and Cousin Larry Appleton.
Oh, yes. Come on.
But we are not perfect strangers. We've been doing this 80s show for a very long time.
Such a long time.
Double the time that the 1980s lasted. And we will be milking that bitch for all it's worth. So I want to jump straight into it, Dori.
Yes.
1980s was the kind of rise of fitness. We had so many new fitness fads.
Yes. Aerobics.
Gyms were becoming quite big. And diets. Fad 80s diets. We still get fad diets.
Yes.
But 80s diets are... Because you still get fad diets now. I don't know if you saw that Liver King shit that's on Netflix.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, so he was a kind of a thing. You got to eat like cow's testicles. There's always something.
Carnivore diet.
There's always something.
Yes.
We've got to go on the 80-20.
My favorite is the breatharians.
Okay, Dori.
Breatharians.
So without even knowing what I'm going to be talking about, you have actually jumped into exactly what I'm going to be talking about.
Oh, excellent.
I want to go through, I saw a thing on Reddit about fad diets in the 80s, and I thought, let's go down a rabbit hole and find some of the fad diets that were all over the huisgenoot. All over living and loving, all over them, right? You could not buy an 80s lifestyle homemakers magazine without being confronted by one of these diets. And every month it'd change. This is the new one. I lost 400 kilos just on this diet. So, Dori, one that so many people partook in was called the Hollywood diet, which was in fact just a grapefruit diet. You eat half a grapefruit before every meal.
Ew.
Right?
I hate grapefruit.
Grapefruit is such a complicated fruit to eat. Because when you do eat grapefruit, how would you eat it?
How would I eat it? Well, I see people cut it in half and then eat it with a spoon.
I've seen that. It was a little spoon in the 80s with jagged edges there.
Yeah,
right? I eat a grapefruit like an orange.
You peel it and you
cut it like an orange.
Wedges.
The wedges.
Okay.
Because that spit and then spray in your eyes. So grapefruit and lychees.
Yeah.
I feel a lychee is way too much effort.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Lychees became big in the 80s.
Ah.
They did.
Suppose, now that you mention it, that's when I had my first lychee.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just when you remember stuff. But anyway, so the grapefruit diet, that's bullshit. So supposedly grapefruit had a magical fat-burning enzyme. It doesn't. But it was very low calorie. However, this promoted dangerous eating habits. Imagine eating half a grapefruit before every meal. No.
I mean, I just don't understand So what? You're going to eat it, then whatever you eat afterwards,
the enzyme
is going to get
destroys
burnt
it.
up quickly.
Yeah. So therefore, you could eat anything. Theoretically. It doesn't say that, but there was another one called the Scarsdale diet, a super low calorie, around 1,000 calories a day, high protein diet with strict rules.
Sounds like Atkins.
Kind of. You had to follow the exact menu, so half a grapefruit for breakfast every day. You did lose weight rapidly, of course, because you're eating 1,000 calories.
Yeah, you're like literally not eating.
But, I mean, it ruins your body.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the one thing that, to say, anyway, I'm not like some sort of scientific diet guy, but they're all bullshit, right? You just kind of eat stuff in moderation and take the stairs. That's going to be okay. Drink water.
Yeah.
The drinking man's diet, okay?
Alrighty.
A low-carb diet where you could eat steak and drink as much alcohol as you wanted.
Any alcohol?
And as much of it.
That sounds like a Jordan Peterson type diet.
It encouraged daily alcohol consumption, such as martinis, in place of carbs. It was a precursor to Atkins, but with booze instead of avos. So basically, you're getting your carbs from your drinks.
So basically, you become an alcoholic, but you're thin.
Are you? Because you're eating steak.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's protein.
I mean,
You probably are.
and depends what you're drinking.
Yeah, I mean, if you're drinking beer, you're not getting thin.
Beer and steak every day. I mean, listen,
Sounds
one
delicious.
cannot complain about that. But one would find it difficult to get out of bed in the morning. One.
Who came up with that diet, honestly? Not a medical person.
No, David Hasselhoff probably. The Israeli army diet. Okay. 2 days of apples, 2 days of cheese, 2 days of chicken, and 1 day of salad. 2, 4, 6.
That's not a
days.
week.
Too
And then
many
what?
days. I suppose then you start again.
Oh.
So it was in no way related to the Israeli army. It was just a weird.
Yeah, because why would they
Food
eat like
rotation.
that? That
Yeah.
seems weird.
I mean, you're not marching. So that's 2, 4, 6. That's not enough days. Oh, it's 7 days. It is 7 days. 2, 4, 6, 7 days. Yeah.
Sunday is salad day.
Sunday, salad day. Or you could do Monday, salad day, and then you're having chicken. Again, love a cheese, love a chicken. 2 days only. Although I eat a lot of chicken, so I do go 2 days. But only that. There was the rice diet, mostly rice, fruits, and fruit juice, designed to treat hypertension and obesity. That's too low carbs. That's too low calories. Fruit and fruit juice.
That just sounds like a lot of sugar, actually, more than anything else.
You see, and that's the thing in the 80s.
Just sugar and carbs.
We thought, oh, fruit juice, it's way more healthy than soda. No, it's not.
There's no protein in that rice diet.
No, exactly. And people dropped weight fast. Again, you lose weight very quickly.
Yeah.
You know, just enough for your weight.
Any kind of restrictive diet, you're going to lose weight
You're
quickly.
just going to drop it off
It's not
quickly.
healthy.
Yeah. The banana and milk diet, 6 bananas and 4 glasses of milk a day.
God, that sounds disgusting.
God.
I actually feel ill.
I love a banana.
A banana.
A banana.
I don't really drink a glass of milk. I will have milk in cereal, but I won't drink a glass of milk.
You shouldn't drink a glass of milk.
No.
You should have very little milk. It's not good. You should limit your milk. The rotation diet, rotate calorie levels every few days. So you have 600 calories, then 900, then 1,200, then you go to 6 and you go. So you're tricking your metabolism, but in fact, you're just killing yourself.
God, calorie counting. There's nothing worse on earth, honestly.
And then, like you said, the breatharian diet.
Now this one.
Tell me what you know about the breatharian diet.
The breatharian diet is you don't eat much at all. I actually knew a guy who was doing it, and he would eat 1 hard-boiled egg and like a handful of cauliflower a day. That's it. And then the rest of the time,
So
you're living on the air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're getting your nutrients and your vitamins from the sunlight and
Yes,
air. So
and
you're going
air.
to spend a lot of time outside.
And it's about tricking your brain into thinking you're not hungry.
Yeah.
Look, he was a thin guy to begin with, and he didn't get ridiculously skinny on this diet. He actually seemed okay on it, which was very weird. I just think, why?
Yeah. It was part of a cult, I believe. It was
it
actually
was very culty.
pushed by a cult.
Very culty.
I mean, no
what does
shit.
it say there about it?
No, it was exactly that. You could survive without food, just very little, and you're getting all your vitamins from the air around us, the sunlight.
Wasn't there something about meditation as well?
A lot of meditation.
Yeah.
They said
to convince yourself you're
it
not
was
hungry.
more spiritual movement than a diet. I think you're meditating a lot, probably because you're just passing out.
Absolutely.
And so,
You're just
I
like,
spent 6.
I'm just going to close my eyes for a minute.
I spent 6 hours meditating. No, you were in a mini coma. So it was a little bit of a coma you were in.
Yes, you fainted because you were hungry.
You didn't achieve any Zen-like cultural plane. You just fainted. And that is 80s Fad Diets. But I mean,
There's
one
some
day,
weird ones still.
40 years in the future, somebody's going to be doing that 20 show.
Yeah.
And they're going to be, fucking take a listen to this shit that they used to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, where?
Intermittent fasting.
What is that? That's a big scam, by the way.
I know.
Yeah, my dietitian told me. Big scam. Anyway, let's not get into that.
No.
Dori, let's take you into John Cusack movie universe.
Ooh, you don't like John Cusack.
No, I don't. I mean, iconic scene of his. Which one would you say? It's only one. Can only
Say anything, holding up the beatbox.
right?
The
The
boombox.
boombox, right? So, of course, we have that scene right at the end of the movie. It's been parodied so many times. So many people parodied it, they don't even know where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. And yes, it comes from the movie Say Anything. And do you, by any chance, remember the song that he was playing?
In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel.
Of course, that's the song he was playing. That wasn't the original song used in the movie.
Oh.
Oh, yes, indeed. So what I'm going to do is the original song used for that movie. So this was John Cusack, had a certain taste in music. He liked the song, and he convinced the director, Cameron Crowe, that he said, you know what, we both like this band, and what if I used this song as playing on the boombox? So we're going to take a little break away here, and you're going to take a listen to this. As Dori and I listen to this, you can go listen to it yourself in the show notes or on that 80s Show SA Facebook page. We'll also give you the name of the song. Now, Dori has some very quizzed looks on her face, as I'm sure you do if you went to look at it. It is a song called Bonin' in the Backyard by a ska punk band called Fishbone.
Okay. How is that romantic?
It is in no way romantic. It is like a ska type punk song. Not even a good one.
No.
So the story goes that I'm calling bullshit on the story. I'm going to tell you the story, but I'm calling bullshit on you.
Okay.
So it goes that John Cusack liked this band Fishbone, and Cameron Crowe liked them as well and agreed on the choice. And then they, played the song, and that was the song in the movie. And upon watching the edits, Cameron Crowe went, shit, you actually look like a stalker. There's nothing romantic about this, right? Because that song just does not work.
No.
Okay, we love the song, love the band.
Do you think they also tested it with an audience, and the audience was like, what the fuck?
It didn't come out right on, I don't think they went right through to audience testing, but they were just, you can just know.
Yeah.
Like, you're shooting that scene, right? And then you go watch the dailies and you're like, no, fuck.
That doesn't work.
John Cusack, you may be the voice of your generation, but you are not choosing music for my movie. And
so they overdubbed it.
So they started looking for new songs. He commissioned songs. He tried to get rights for it. Just nothing was actually working, right? And then he's busy driving to work one day listening to his wedding song playlist, right?
Oh.
I like to imagine a nice mixtape, wedding songs, wedding jams.
Yes.
Getting down with the crows. Maybe they called it that. Counting the crows, the wedding songs. Who knew what he called this mixtape? And then In Your Eyes by Peter Gabriel came up. He goes, shit, wow, I love the song. Totally going to work. Hello, Mr. Peter Gabriel, can you use the song? No, he said. I don't let movies use my songs. And but the problem was Peter Gabriel didn't understand which movie it was for. He got confused. He thought it was for a John Belushi biopic.
Oh.
So he's like, but anyway, still, don't do it. Anyway, if this is the perfect song for your movie, you're going to damn well get it. We hear stories that Sylvester Stallone wanted to use Queen's Under Pressure, and he couldn't get it, so he commissioned a new song. So anyway, through legal shenanigans, probably Peter Gabriel's record label being partly owned by maybe the production studio via, they get it, and the rest is movie history.
So do you think Peter Gabriel, in retrospect, was like, actually, I'm pretty happy that happened, because otherwise I don't know if people would know that song.
How many people know that song because of him? Exactly, because of this. But I call bullshit on that whole story, because there is no way, if you remember that movie, there is no way that ska punk band song, and I don't even think they just dubbed it. They would have had to
he's like standing so still and
her reactions, they'd have to reshoot the whole scene. So I call bullshit on that. I don't think that ever got made. I think this is just a story.
Did you ask AI if it's true?
Well, I found it in reputable sources.
Okay.
And AI did kind of like give me details, but I like to do my own research.
Yes.
And then get AI to make my notes. But so I call bullshit on that whole story.
How do we find out? We need to
how we
get hold. We get Barrett, our celeb savant, to get hold of Peter Gabriel or Cameron Crowe
or John Cusack
or John. Oh yes, that would be nice.
No, it's just, you know what? I can believe it's just another reason to dislike John Cusack.
In your opinion?
In your eyes. So in Dori's eyes, we have got movie recommendations. We're going to jump straight into the things we should be watching. Dori, I got to tell you, from last week, Class Action Park.
Yes, I mean, you went down the rabbit hole, didn't you?
But you know what? Not only that, so many people who listen to the show have been getting in touch and say, oh my God, you guys talking about playgrounds and water slide parks, like how the hell? And everyone had their stories.
Yeah.
So even though you have Class Action Park, which is like the one that got busted, let's say it that way.
Yes, exactly.
The one that got caught. It just brought up so many core memories from people of like just being wounded.
Oh, yeah.
And the urban legends of parks.
I had a memory of when I was in nursery school, a kid went down the slide and face planted and lost his 2 front teeth.
God.
You know?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, I remember in nursery school, I had an arch enemy.
Of course you did.
Vincent. Who I did not like Vincent. And one day he stole my bucket, my sand bucket, and he climbed up to the top of the jungle gym, but probably a table height high. And I hit him in the face with the bucket, and both his front teeth came out.
Oh,
now, I assume his teeth must have been loose because I wasn't hitting him that hard. His teeth fell out. Then we both wrestled and we fell out the jungle gym. And then I got in trouble for knocking his teeth out, but I'm like, those teeth were loose. They were proper.
I just hurried the process.
Fuck you, Vincent. He probably grew up to be John Cusack, even though the math doesn't work. But anyway, Dori, what are you? Because the last one I contacted you yesterday. I said, good for the show. He said, I'm literally about to watch my recommendation. Is it a movie?
It is a movie.
Oh, let's settle in. I'm rubbing my hands in glee.
I don't know if you're going to be so gleeful because I remember you telling me you didn't love this movie.
Oh, boy.
But it's a movie set in the 80s, not from the 80s. It's actually a couple of years old only. I finally watched Tetris, the movie.
Ah, yes, Dori.
Yes, took me a while.
Yes.
Now.
So I have recommended this movie. I want to hear your take on it.
I don't know if you recommended it.
I think we spoke about it,
We spoke about it, and I remember you saying you thought it was boring.
It's admin. It's like this whole wave of movies we got about Tetris, the BlackBerry, WeWork. It's like, I don't want to fucking watch movies about admin.
And I agree that parts of it were slow. I did think, because also it was it's almost 2 hours long. Started watching it last night, and at some point I thought, I'm not going to make it through because it is a bit slow paced. I'm so glad I made it through because I cried at the end. I loved the ending so much. And then I went down the rabbit hole because I was like, how much of this is actually based on the facts?
Yeah.
Because it seemed very dramatized.
Especially the parts in Russia.
Yes, very dramatized. So I did. I watched quite a few YouTube videos about it. I'll actually put one of them up. There's an interview with the 2 guys. I'll put it up. It was really cool. It's the core of the story is accurate, actually. And even the weird bits that you think, no way, like the Gorbachev part, that was true. That was all true. The dramatized parts were the action scenes, like the car chase.
Yeah, there was no.
Which I realized at the time, there's no ways this really happened.
But they did it really cool because they're basically car chasing around Tetris blocks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that the way they did it, making it into like a video game, was really, really cool. I think the graphics were awesome. I watched one of the videos that said, where they did those scene setters where they were showing which city you were in. Like it was Tokyo then it was Moscow and all that kind of stuff. And those were done in like a Lego kind of graphic. They said that that wasn't the idea at first. They literally didn't have budget to go and get the footage of the cities. So so someone said, well, let's just make graphics. So that actually was like a happy accident, which I thought was one of the best things about the movie. So if you don't know the story, it's 1984. This guy, he's got his own video gaming company, and he goes to one of these big expos in Vegas, and he discovers this little game called Tetris. And it had actually been designed by a guy working in Russia for the government.
Yep.
And somehow it had gotten out, and it was becoming very, very, very popular. Anyway, long story short, and it really is a long story, but I actually, in retrospect, I kind of appreciated knowing all the details because I only knew the bare details about the Tetris story.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to know the intricacies. And even though at the time of watching the movie, I thought they're being very dramatic. They're basically saying that Tetris brought down the Soviet Union.
Yeah. I mean, the Soviet Union was pretty much over by then.
I do think it played a part. It's interesting. I mean, or it was a byproduct, or there is a link there.
Okay.
I do think they dramatized it a bit in the movie to go, this is what did it.
Yeah, I know, of course.
I mean, obviously not. I mean, it's a cool story. It's a cool idea. But it had such a happy ending in the way that everything worked out. The guy who you were rooting for the whole time, who looked like he was going to lose, wins. The guy in Russia, who made the game, who was going to get nothing, ends up with everything that he could possibly have wanted. I literally cried at the end. It was so sweet. So I do recommend it, actually, but just be ready for a bit of a drawn out, detailed, quite espionage-y political story, actually.
But they do, but you see that stuff, they have to add all that stuff in to even give it a sense of a story, because I watched a documentary, and I think it's on Apple TV. If you go look for Tetris, the movie there, they've got like a whole bunch of extras, and there is a documentary of the 2 story.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was, things of course didn't happen as quickly as they show in the movie, because that happens over a couple of days. There was a lot of back and forth. But I think the main story was, you can take a story of a guy kind of down in his luck, finds this thing, goes, this thing could be the biggest thing. And then the hoops he has to jump through, or the bricks he has to navigate to get through.
And some of the arseholes he had to deal with, my God. Yeah. And the corruption. And I mean, what's so cool about it is Tetris is still a thing to this day. I mean, they're on phone games and all this. It is a phenomenon. And it's amazing that it's actually such a simple concept.
And it was built for, I think he built it for like obviously for the KGB, for pattern recognition, some code breaking thing. It was supposed to be a training tool.
I mean, it was never supposed to be entertainment. The Russians didn't believe in that.
No, they didn't like that at all. Listen, it is, again, it goes into that genre of like movies about admin.
Yes.
And you've got to find things to make it interesting. It kind of like really... Did you feel afterwards, like you had watched it and you go, you really just played into my sense of nostalgia there, didn't you? Like the show does.
It was very well done.
Manipulated your nostalgia.
It did. But I have to say, like on my favorite thing about it, apart from the graphics, which were amazing, the soundtrack.
Well, I was just going to bring that up. Yes, let's
talk about the soundtrack, because a few things stand out. That scene where the final countdown plays, where they go to like a kind of a warehouse where there's some sort of...
It's a New Year's Eve.
Oh, was it New Year's Eve?
It's New Year's Eve, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I missed that somehow. So they go to this like...
Or it's New Year's Eve, or it's... I'm pretty sure it's New Year's Eve. But yeah.
And it's like a secret party, because the Russians aren't allowed to do such things. And the final countdown's playing and everyone sings along to it. And
yes.
And our hero, the main guy, who is he's not American, he's a Dutch guy who grew up in America and was living in Tokyo. Long story.
Yes.
But he also Taron Egerton, really cool.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. He's amazed that all these Russians who can't speak English are singing along to the final countdown by Europe. It was one of those, I think,
even though Europe wasn't an American band.
No, but I think that's what made it cool. Actually, is that they weren't they were not neither Russian nor American.
Swedish?
They were Swedish, I think. Yeah, they are. Yeah. It's just one of those things that, like, some songs will just bond everyone in the world, no matter where you're from.
Especially when you're moments away and you're heading to Venus. And you need, is there a better countdown-based song in the history of the world?
No.
That's why they called it the final countdown, because you kind of went, shit. Everyone sings about love. People sing about a lot of different stuff. You cannot sing about counting down after them, because they just, fuck.
They are the kings of the countdown.
How do we say what they haven't said? They said it all,
And to this day, it's used at New Year's.
Oh.
My other favorite song from the soundtrack, the Japanese version of Holding Out for a Hero.
That was, I remember when I spoke to you about it, that was a thing of beauty. Absolutely.
So amazing.
I mean, there is something so awesome of taking a song we know so well and just hearing it in another language. You feel like you've entered into an alternate universe.
Yeah, because you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like, how much other cool shit is happening in Japan?
Words.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. And yeah, there's a couple like Heart of Glass plays, the original Holding Out for a Hero. But all in all, it's a nicely done movie.
It's a nice
worth watching.
Little 80s packaged up, because they didn't spare any expense. Money is spent on this movie. Do they have a Game Boy?
Yes.
They had original Game Boys because that's a story.
Well, I don't know enough about gaming to know if it was original Game Boys, but that is a big part of the story.
Yeah, because they had to. That's why he is in Japan, because Nintendo wanted to ship the game and they needed the Game Boy and they needed a game.
One of the things I read about it when I went down the rabbit hole afterwards was that people really appreciated that they hired genuine Japanese people, genuine Russian people. They weren't like all American actors, pretending to be these
There's
people.
a lot of subtitles in this movie.
Fair amount.
Yeah,
fair amount.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's almost an arty movie, kind of. I think it probably was on the art circuit when it came out.
Yeah, very niche subject, but listen, good movie, good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like what it's about. Again, fibbing like John Cusack, but we'll forgive him about that. Good recommendation, Dori.
Yes. No, I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting to not like it as much as I did.
Did you want to play Tetris immediately after watching it?
No. I played a shit ton of Tetris in my life. I'm a little bit over it.
No, I went to go download a Tetris just after. I played it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But those 5 minutes were...
Tetris was like my favorite thing in my childhood.
Well, we didn't have much to compare it to. But yes, I think Tetris was a lot of our favorite things. Kind of like a digital Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
If you will.
Yes.
I play a game called Block Blast.
Yes, which is Tetris-ish.
Tetris, yeah, very Tetris.
I wonder if
adjacent.
they get any kind of royalties from that.
Oh, no ways. They've changed just enough, But, no, look what ours do. No, they've changed just enough. Dori, let me tell you about my movie. It's a movie from 1989, but time travel movie, but feels very dated. Sometimes you can watch a movie from like that late in the 80s and you go, shit, like it's timeless. This movie feels like it's from the 70s. It's so weird, especially when you watch it. It's about time traveling, and I want you to take a listen to the trailer right now.
DUA-35 Heavy, could you give me your location?
Minneapolis, we are currently heading 0.
DUA-35, turn to heading.
My God. Jesus, down. Go down.
For Flight 35,
We are going down.
it was the end.
Do not be afraid.
Or was it?
Walk towards the light.
What unusual facts have you developed in your investigation?
This crash has been crazy from the start.
Is there anything odd?
Going backwards. I'm afraid I still don't know what you're driving at.
I'm simply looking for the inexplicable. I usually find it.
You're endangering a project that's bigger than you can imagine.
I know damn well we can't change the past.
Time travelers. They don't want to be found. Then you are from the future.
About 1,000 years. Sherman, send the gate.
Once in 1,000 years comes an adventure like this.
We've been expecting you.
Millennium.
So as you can hear there, Dori, my movie's called Millennium from 1979. And they didn't say the stars' names there, but starring Kris Kristofferson.
I've never heard of this movie.
Oh, no, not at all. And Cheryl Ladd. Cheryl Ladd replaced Farrah Fawcett in Charlie's Angels.
Right.
So big stars. I don't know if they were big stars here because late 80s, they were probably kind of like, what have you been up to? They were big stars in earlier. So gotta listen to this fucking concoction of a movie here.
Okay.
So we start off on an airplane and, airplane flying, commercial airline flying as normal, and there is a mid-air collision. Another plane hits it. Okay. Plane crashes, disaster, and then next scene we are on the crash site and all these investigators wandering around, right? They're all now investigating it and enter a very bearded Kris Kristofferson. Okay. His name's Bill Smith.
I don't think I know him any other way than bearded.
Famous for a beard. So he's now the main investigator and he's like, they're looking for clues, but they can't, all bodies, everything burnt beyond recognition. Nothing. Like no trace of a human, nothing. Really bothers them. And now the first investigation's happening in this airplane hangar. and they've got all the debris and bodies and things like that in the school gymnasium, which I found very weird because they still got all the decor from obviously what was the prom. Up balloons and things like that.
And then there's just a bunch of burnt bodies.
Yeah, it's quite macabre in that way.
Yeah.
So Kris Kristofferson and all these scientists, what happened? Everything's burnt. We can't figure it out. And we see Cheryl Ladd floating around. She's just walking around in the background. She's, unnamed, beautiful, blonde. You're not supposed to notice her, but she's like 6 foot tall, got blonde hair, and she's beautiful. It's like, and she's just like floating around between their meetings, giving them coffee. But like, oh, what's she up to? Why does she keep listening to them? And they go back to the crash site, and a scientist shows up talking about this is more than you expect it to be. He's talking about time and how, there's time paradoxes, and they just write him off and they chase him off the site. But when they go to the school gymnasium, the one thing they could recover, and this is where plot holes, despite everybody being burnt to a crisp, they found all their watches, right?
Ah, okay.
And all their watches are running backwards. So they all still work, but the watches are running backwards. Ooh, so they're listening to Black Box and something's off. Yeah, something's off. There's too many voices. They're hearing zaps and lasers. Like, what the fuck? I can't figure it out. So they, at a press conference, again, the scientist shows up and starts questioning about time and space and time travel. Again, they shuffle him out, and Cheryl Ladd's there again. She's watching. She's smoking all the time. All the time she's smoking. Constant smoking. She gets Kris Kristofferson in the bar, and she seduces him. They go back to the hotel room. They do a sex thing. She smokes, and then she tries to convince him to say, you know what, you're so stressed from this case. I've been seeing you, working. You really should just give it up. Just give up this case. Like, it's not good for you. He's like, no, I mean it. I got to help these people. I got to save these people. They have a bit of an argument. He storms out the hotel room. He's like, oh, I don't like it. I want to see her tonight. Goes back and she's gone. Completely disappeared. Vanished. Vanished. The room's made up. No sign anyone was ever there. Oh dear. Spooky, spooky, scary stuff. But we figure out what happens. She is a time traveler, and she has come from the year 3000.
Okay.
Right?
Where they still smoke?
1,000 years in the future. Now.
Maybe they don't. That's why she was smoking so
no.
much. Yeah.
Why they smoke, I'll tell you why they smoke.
Okay.
So 1,000 years in the future, the environment is fucked. The hole in the ozone layer, they never closed it like they have.
Yeah.
Bermuda Triangle still exists. And they've destroyed the humans, and time and people being dicks have destroyed the environment so much that humans can't populate anymore.
Okay.
Right? And they got to smoke all the time because that's the cleanest air that they can get. The air is so toxic and polluted that smoking cigarettes is how they breathe. And that's why she's got to go when she's in 2000s or the 1980s. She's got to smoke or else her lungs actually get damaged. Anyway, so what happened, what they've devised in the future is they go, you know what? We've got to identify all these air crashes through history. Go back and at the moment just before we crash, take all the people off the plane, replace them with burnt bodies, and bring them to the future because they can still populate. Or else the human race is going to die, and we got to keep people going so we can repopulate and try to find a solution to fucking up the environment. Okay?
Wow, that seems like a complicated.
It's very complicated.
Okay.
So that's why they did the crash in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then now, as this is all explained, and then Cheryl Ladd's got a very pervy robot assistant who's watching her in the shower. So unnecessary for her to shower at this point.
Well,
but she's showering and he's watching, and he's seeing, like, he's looking at this like infrared thing of her body, and she's rubbing her like infrared boobies, and he's like, 80s. Yep. Cheryl Ladd, exactly. You don't see any Cheryl Ladd nudity, but you do see her heat wave nudity. Right. So heat map nudity. So now they're all getting ready. Now they're going to a plane crash in the 60s. Okay. So they're getting ready. The plane's going to crash. They're going to take everyone off the plane. And they're saying, morally, it's not wrong. These people are all going to die anyway. We're actually taking things. Oh, but what about their family? They don't know that but they are dead. And we can't change anything. So why can't you stop the planes from crashing? We can't do that. We can't change anything. Everything's just got to be as it is.
Yes.
Okay. But we're just taking that using to our advantage. And it's like quite an interesting question.
How did they get the watches off the... Okay, never mind.
No, I don't. But the whole thing's an interesting question because there's like a thing going, but you could save them. You could go back even further and stop them from getting on the plane.
Yeah.
So no, we can't. The plane has to crash.
Yes,
or else you're going to ruin the timeline.
That much. Yeah.
Did you not watch Back to the Future?
Did you not watch the butterfly effect?
Right?
Yes.
Oh, they would have been watching Back to the Future then. This was 1989. So Back to the Future came out a few years ago. Did you not watch it? We can't be fucking around with time travel.
Yes.
Okay, fine. So the whole thing. But now in 1960s, there's terrorists on the plane, which they did not anticipate for.
Oh.
So now there's shenanigans and all these like time travelers now disguised as air hostesses. There's a scuffle. A young boy tries to help, not young boy, he's about 20 years old. He tries to help. All the time travelers have these stunners. They stun the terrorists. It delays everything, but they get everybody off the plane at the same time. In the scuffle, this young man, 20-year-old, had stunned himself, and they think they leave him for dead. And then, but in it, they drop their stunners, and the stunners are left on the plane, and they get all the people off. And now, great. We come back to the 3000, and they say something's fucked. You left your stunners on the plane, and 2 people survived the crash. And they've got the stunners. The 2 people, the 20-year-old, Kris Kristofferson. That's why he wants to do this. And the scientist.
The thick plottins.
Yes. So they survived the crash. That's why the scientist knows this. Billy forgot he had a stunner.
Right.
But he kind of remembers this whole situation. So then he goes and seeks out the scientist. Scientist explains the whole thing. Cheryl Ladd appears through a portal and explains the whole thing to them. Scientist ends up stunning himself again and dies. Anyway, what the fuck? Okay.
It sounds like they just don't know how to use the weapons.
They just don't know how to use the weapons. Anyway, we now go back to the 3000s where Cheryl Ladd is taking Kris Kristofferson there because they're in love now.
Okay.
And now she's just fucked the whole time-space continuum. Now what happens, because they've done this, the whole fucking world 3000s is starting to collapse. Because they've been fucking with time.
Yeah.
You're moving people across, you're preventing plane, people are dying, people shouldn't, then the whole fucking future is collapsing. So they create another world. They've been creating another world, because this is what they've been doing. So as in the 3000s, repopulating, they've been creating another world with an environment, with a sun and everything. And they want to take the last few survivors there. And then off they go into this new utopia with Kris Kristofferson and Cheryl Ladd. Guess what? She's pregnant.
Of course she is.
She's smoked like a fucking chimney. But she's still pregnant. Does all the time traveling. That can't be healthy. That's like taking multiple x-rays. That cannot be healthy. But anyway. And off they step into this.
We have to let the plot holes in this one go, hey?
You really do have to. It's so many plot holes.
It actually sounds like a watchable story.
Oh, it is such a load of nonsense, bullshit,
How did you even find such a movie?
Oh, Dori, these movies, they find me. They find me. And that is my movie. So Dori's movie, Tetris, my movie, Millennium. From 1976. I promise you. But it does say 1989, but it definitely looks like 1976. Dori, before we go, I know you like talking about podcasts. I just want to ask you, have you listened to, friend of the show, Benji Moody does a podcast called From the Hip.
You're ruining my movie, my recommendation for next week.
Have you listened to Concert in the Park?
I've started, and I was going to talk about it on the show next week.
You got to love Dori. It's a 40-minute podcast and she's only started it. But I'm so glad. Listen, you know what? Then let's do that. When you finish listening to this podcast, we'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah.
And I want to get permission from the guys who make it so we can play some clips.
Yes.
Right?
No, I'm sure it'll be cool.
Because it's awesome because they got rights to play music in theirs as well from the record label. They speak to the concert promoter and so many friends of the show pop up in there. Neil Johnson, Alex J. They talk of the late Brenda Fassie, Sipo Hosticks, and Mabuze is in there. Another friend of the show, Evoid, making an appearance. It is a fantastic listening for anybody who loves 1980s nostalgia music concerts. To think of a concert of that scale. So why don't we
both discuss that next week then? Because you've listened to it.
But let's not do it as a movie recommendation. Because the people want my movie. They want.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
It's going to be mine. It's going to be my multimedia recommendation.
And everyone must listen on, and then people can. But people want my movie recommendations, Dori.
If I can watch a movie, then it won't be my multimedia recommendation. We can just talk about it.
No, it's fine. But listen, do yourself a favor. Take a listen to that.
Also, cousin Louis told me about that Everything 80s podcast, the one he's cheating on us with.
Yeah.
I listened to an episode where they spoke about the top 9 movies from the 80s according to the American Film Institute. What a load of shit.
Don't listen to that podcast too much. It'll push us down the rankings. We're number 9. He's number 10. We've got to keep him down there. Double digit Danny. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
Bye.